When did proto-punk garage rock emerge? If you're curious about the roots of punk music and how it all began, you're in the right place. Let's take a journey back in time to uncover when proto-punk garage rock first emerged. To understand this genre, we need to go back to the 1960s. This was a time when rock music was evolving rapidly, and young musicians were experimenting with new sounds. In the United States and Canada, particularly in areas like California and the Pacific Northwest, garage rock was taking shape. Garage rock, characterized by its raw and energetic sound, was often played by amateur bands rehearsing in family garages. This movement was heavily influenced by surf rock and the British invasion bands like the Beatles. By the mid-1960s, thousands of young people were forming bands, and hundreds of these acts produced regional hits, some of which gained national popularity. One of the key regions that played a significant role in the inception of garage rock was the Pacific Northwest, which includes Washington, Oregon, and Idaho. Here, bands like the Ventures and The Wailers were among the first to create this raw, energetic sound. The Wailers' version of Louie Louie in 1960 became a blueprint for many bands in the region and beyond. As the 1960s progressed, garage rock continued to evolve. By the late 1960s, bands like the Stooges and MC5 from Michigan were pushing the boundaries of this sound. They incorporated more aggressive and primitive elements, laying the groundwork for what would later be called proto-punk. Proto-punk, a term used retrospectively, describes the rock music from the 1960s to the mid-1970s that foreshadowed the punk rock movement. Bands like the Stooges and MC5 released their debut albums in 1969, marking a significant point in the emergence of proto-punk. The Stooges' self-titled album and MC5's Kick Out the Jams were highly influential, setting the stage for the punk movement of the late 1970s. In the early 1970s, other bands like the New York Dolls and the Saints from Australia continued this proto-punk sound, blending it with other influences like glam rock and psychedelic rock. These bands were part of a broader movement that rejected the more polished and sophisticated rock music of the time, opting instead for a raw, back-to-basics approach. So, to answer your question, proto-punk garage rock began to emerge in the mid to late 1960s, with key milestones in the late 1960s and early 1970s. This period saw the rise of influential bands that would shape the sound of punk rock in the years to come.